If you want a meaningful life and a meaningful career, you have to have meaningful problems.
You were there, you're on a mission, you just delivered anyway.
Be authentic, be real, and make it meaningful. I'm Julian Pace, I'm the founder and the CEO of the Happiness Co and the founder of the Happiness Co Foundation.
Can you tell us a little bit about Happiness Co and the Happiness Co Foundation, what they are and why they exist?
The mission that we have at Happiness Co and the foundation is to positively impact 10 million lives in 10 years. It's about embracing goodness, meaningful change, contribution, self-growth, mental health and well-being. It's an organisation that is based on lived experience, integration, and it's preemptive. So we all know prevention's better than a cure, and Happiness Co focuses on the preemptive part of mental health, which is working on your mental health when you want to, not have to.
Yeah.
And often in life, we wait till it's too late to want to fix something. When we're struggling or hurting or heartbroken or things are at breaking point that we decided we want to change. At Happiness Co, we try and work on the motivation and empowerment of actually working on being a good dad because you get to, being a good mum because you get to, being a great work colleague because you get to, and actually reaping all the amazing benefits of working on yourself in a really healthy way.
What inspired you? Can you share the story behind the founding of Happiness Co?
It's been somewhat a crazy whirlwind. I say to people all the time, I'm an accidental entrepreneur, but I'm so grateful I am. And the story of Happiness Co, the origin story, I guess, was because I lost my father to suicide when I was 21. And that just changed the way I saw the world, it changed the way I saw people, but most importantly, it changed the way I saw myself, and I just really struggled with finding meaning and connection and love, and I just went into a really dark place in my life for a bunch of years. And I went to professional counselling and therapy and tried to seek advice and counsel to try and rebuild my life, and it just didn't work for me. I felt like I was going backwards rather than forwards, and I felt more lost and had less clarity than I had before I even walked in the room. Then I decided to look at how can I turn my life around in some other ways and be more holistic in how I look after myself and the people I spend time with and what I eat and what I drink and how I talk to myself. And the biggest bully of all is us. And how can I become my biggest cheerleader instead? And these small little things, these small little choices turned into my habits, and habits determine your happiness. And then when I came out the other side of losing my father and found a better sense of self again, I said, surely there'll be other people out there have had the same experience. So I found a gap in the market. Like, clinical intervention is incredible for people who need it, and Happiness Co is incredible for a whole different range of people who need it. And I wanted to build something for the young people at the time that were struggling and maybe didn't want talk therapy and didn't want the traditional means of support. So it just took off amazingly well from day one. And I think because no one really cares about how much you know until they realize how much you care.
Yeah.
And I think that's been at the core of what we do. People know we care deeply.
Yeah.
And every interaction and everything that we do has high meaning because we understand the stakes are so high. You're someone's dad, you're someone's brother, you're someone's mum, you're someone's sister. People's lives matter. And one thing I've always been really driven by is what are our reasons over our results? Because results, you can look at the scoreboard, you can look at the P&L, you can look at the balance sheet, and it can look like you're losing. But if your reasons are really strong and profound, then you're always winning.
I love that. Something that I share with you actually is that looking at those moments, those situations, and looking for what's positive. Where am I at? What have I learned? And how can I move forward from this? I think when we seek the positivity in everything, we find the opportunity that's in front of us.
Massively.
Yeah.
It's like the trigger of the glimmer.
Yeah.
People trigger you, environments trigger you, memories trigger you, and triggers can be the things that we've gone through that have hurt us along the way, and that's part of life. But the glimmers are the people that you spend time with that make you walk a little taller, hold your head a little higher. When you walk with them, they give you a glimmer of things like hope and possibility, and maybe that you feel so lost and so broken that you still have a fighting chance. And I think often in life we spend a lot of times and attention engaging in the trigger.
Yeah.
And not the glimmer. What's it teaching us? What can we learn from it? How can we turn our pain into our purpose, our sadness into our strength? And I think as entrepreneurs or business owners or people who are running brands, where you find your ticker, your heart, and what's worth fighting for is super important, because if you want a meaningful life and a meaningful career, you have to have meaningful problems. And what an incredible thing to have if you're a business owner or a CEO or a founder or you're working on something great, that it comes with meaningful problems. But they're the problems that are worth fighting for. And I've always kind of thought that about my own journey. All the things that come up and seem like a struggle, Seems like a really meaningful opportunity to me.
I say problem solvers, purpose driven, on a mission to make the world a better place.
Yes.
So spot on. What is the core mission of Happiness Co, and how do you aim to empower the people you work with through your services?
Our core mission is probably our philosophy on what it is that we teach and how it is that we teach it. The way we go about our workshops, the way we engage in what we do, and how we interact and engage with the people that we're trying to help. With the philosophy of helping people build a strong sense of self, which leads to self-advocacy. Number 2, meaningful connection. It's not about how many friends that you have, it's about the true meaning that they have in your life.
Yeah.
And trying to get people to remind themselves that the people in their lives that mean the most to them are all around them, but you got to look for them. That matters.
Right,
meaningful connection matters. Right in front of you. Often we care so much about complete strangers, what they think of us, or work colleagues, or social media, and the people who should have the most important seats in your arena are the ones that you care about most. And number 3, contribution. So that's how we operate as a model. We're a social enterprise, so a great way to think about that is a heart of a charity and the head of a business. Everything that we do is about making profit for purpose. We repurpose our profit into making a difference. Think about Thomas shoes. You buy a pair of Thomas shoes, they donate a pair of Thomas shoes. Mexican on a mission, you buy a burrito, they donate a burrito. Everything that we do here is about making a difference, and I'm a fundamental believer in this. Every single person on the planet makes a difference in this world. The only question is, do you make a good one or not? Everything that you get is a choice towards doing good with your life or good with people or not, and it can be very challenging, but I think when people understand they have a part to play in making contribution into their own lives, their family's life, their community's life, it makes a huge difference in the type of people that we think that we are. And it's always been something I've really tried to align with at Happiness Co and the people who work for us and our team and our employees, and what this special culture that we have. It's not what you do here, it's how you feel about yourself when you're doing it. Feeling true to your values and being able to show up authentically is a big part of what we preach here internally, but because we're so big on it internally, we go out and represent this externally. And I think that's been a big part of our success, being a real, authentic, meaningful brand. And I think in the modern world that we live in, people can see through BS pretty quick.
Oh, totally, 100%.
People can sense the inauthenticity of it. So I'm like, be authentic, be real, and make it meaningful.
Such a great drive behind what you do. I say myself that I live to serve, because when I'm serving, I'm solving. Growing up, I had a father that was serving the community on a regular basis in multiple different areas. So thanks, Dad.
Yeah, thanks, Dad. Appreciate it. What a great lesson to learn.
Happiness Co is such a strong brand and identity. What strategies and key elements did you focus on to just build such a strong brand?
The best way I can describe how I tried to build Happiness Co was when I felt anxious as a child and I used to watch Batman. If you think about symbolism with Batman, you think about the bat light.
Someone's coming.
Someone's coming. There's good out there still. There's someone out there fighting for what's right in this world and what's true and kind and decent and loving. And when I built Happiness Co, I wanted it to mean something more than just mental health. I wanted it to represent something good in us all, something that inspired the change, the contribution, the connection that we all have, but most importantly, probably the hope. Because I think hope is probably one of the most powerful commodities that you have in the world. To know that you can wake up tomorrow morning and give yourself a fighting chance in your health, your career, your finances, your relationships, and yourself. And to me, that's symbolism. What does your brand represent? And does it inspire the best in people? I've always believed that it needs to mean something.
Yeah,
and
wow.
It should be something that you're really proud to represent. And if it is all these things, and it has the power to become a symbol versus a brand. So that was what I really worked on. What it feel like, what it look like, how could it have meaning to people? And so lots of buy-in, lots of conversations. And it wasn't easy. Trust me, it was so hard at the start. Like I remember I did 11 gigs and not one person rocked up. And you feel real disappointed. You feel really disheartened. That comment before about reasons over results though. Not one person showed up, but my reason was to do something great with something really bad. And that was my internal driver at the start, to take something bad and turn it into something good. I just didn't want my dad's death to be something that I just wore around like a battle wound for the rest of my life and felt that something had been taken from me. And truly I felt that for a long period. I felt something, I've been robbed, something I thought I would never get back. And Happiness Co hasn't replaced him for me, but that brand has given me such a good perspective on the world and taken that really bad moment and turned it into something really inspiring and empowering. Because I think I see it as the best in me. We try really hard to allow it to be a symbol for the best in others.
Super powerful stuff, Jules. I recall a conversation, those workshops that you turned up to and no one turned up themselves. You still got on stage and presented, from what I remember.
Yeah, I still do that.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
You were there, you were on a mission, you just delivered anyway.
One thing I kind of never forgot that my dad would talk to me about when I was young, to do the things that you said you'd do when no one's watching. Well, there was no one to watch, and there was no one to say good job or give you feedback or critique your message, but you know what? I said I was going to do it, so I might as well do it anyway. I could still get the practice in. Sharing your heart and your love, and especially when I was starting out, it was still pretty raw for me. Like, it's still raw for me now, but it was a lot rawer back then. I'm like, I want to share this, and I want to get better at sharing it. So even though there's no one in the room, I'm going to share it anyway.
Share it, practice.
Yeah, just practice. You know the 10,000 hour rule?
Yeah.
You know, just mastery 10,000 hours.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean someone has to be in front of you while you're doing it. And you know, the next one, there was like 4 people. And my biggest lesson in that was asking for help from the right people. Because the reason no one was rocking up, it wasn't so much about what I was doing, it was how I was presenting it. I remember the marketing poster at the time. If I told you it was on the marketing poster, you wouldn't have come either. So it was about asking people for help and getting the right people on the bus with you, and getting a committed team of people that you can rely on that are best in what they do to allow you to leverage your best in world. I think for anyone watching this, make sure you're really committed to doing the things that you said you do when no one's watching.
How has your brand evolved along your journey, and what were some significant milestones along that journey?
Happiness Co in the market when it first came in was laughed out of rooms. It's Happiness Co, and we work in a really grim space. You think about all the mental health names and brands, and we have respect for so many of them, but often you think about the name, even they focus on the downside of mental health. I wanted it to be really positive thought when you thought about mental health, like how you can fix your life. But people laughed us out the room. Lived experience integration wasn't a big thing back then. The power of lived experience and how that creates so much hope in people's lives. So it was really hard to get credibility. So repetition was just showing up and doing the push-ups, and no one's going to do it for you. No one's going to advocate your dreams as much as you should. No one's going to fly the flag for you, what you care about, more than you should. I was like, I've got to keep showing up with this repetition of doing something good. And then clarity came second. We started to create clarity in the market of what we stood for, what we did, how we did it. And then clarity becomes really powerful if you get it right. Then Happiness Co found its niche from repetition and creating clarity, and people are, they're not trying to be in the clinical intervention space. They're in this space, and now we get it. And then we had an identity, and we had a place in the marketplace, and then it just went out of control. And then some significant milestones from there are our really, really incredible JVs and our collaborations with some amazing brands, including yours. And to me, if you want to go fast, then go alone. If you want to go far, then go together. So we've had some really great brands that have been with us for a long time. Hertz Australia, Optus Stadium is our purpose partner. Our accountants, Elevate. You guys are our digital media and optimization specialists, positioning our brand in a more healthy, engaging, inspiring way. That's not our best in world, but getting great people around you to allow you to elevate that. So that was significant milestones for us. And our RAC partnerships allow us to see around 30,000 young students every single year, working on things like self-esteem, peer pressure, road safety, dealing with judgment and shame. These collaborations have allowed us to do such goodness.
So much more.
So don't try and be everything to everyone, because you end up being nothing to no one. Really own what you own, and then get people around you to help you elevate that message and elevate that impact. So that has been significant for us, to create clarity through repetition, to partner and align with really, really incredible brands that build our credibility. Trust is so hard to create.
One of the most important things.
And it's all you get.
Yeah.
And I think that trust is rapport, and if you have rapport with someone or something, you can go anywhere. Holding that tightly.
Things
you do, right? You do. So it's about rapport, and it's about meaningful relationships that both people get something out of, and both organizations. It's not just about Happiness Co, it's about what can we give in return. So doing all the things that we talked about before. Who are the brands that give you a strong sense of self? Who are the brands that help you have meaningful connection? And who are the brands that you align with that help you contribute? So contribution, meaningful connection, and a strong sense of self, they are being significant with the companies and brands that we've aligned with.
Our purpose has connections that matter in it, and our vision has meaningful connections in it. So very similarly aligned there, without a doubt.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you share how your values are reflected within the organisation on a daily basis?
The way I see values internally at Happiness Co, we call them guiding behaviours. And guiding behaviours are how we should show up for each other every day. Your attitude reflects your altitude, like in everything that you do. Your attitude towards your team, the work that you do, the impact that you make, that matters.
Yeah.
So we take values and turn them into behaviors, and the guiding principles to that are kindness, love, and decency. To be kind in your interactions and kind to self.
Yeah.
To love what you do and try to love and like the people around you, and then feel like what you're doing has meaning and possibility, like you're pushing the pendulum forward, to have meaningful work, something to wake up for, and to feel liked and loved, and not to be in love with your work colleagues, but to love what they show up and do, and love what they represent, and love the spirit they bring. I think that's powerful.
And working together. Right?
Working together for a
Yeah.
common goal, and then
Yeah.
decency. If you want a decent world, you've got to remember to be a decent person, and decency starts with us. So they are 3 absolutes that we have here, our guiding behaviours that allow us to show up, and it's ingrained in us, but we assess our people based on how they behave against them 3 things.
They are core values. They're brilliant, amazing. Working with Happiness Co, I've felt nothing but those 3 things.
And it's not always easy, like you get it wrong.
We're human.
We're human, right? When you get kindness, love, or decency wrong, you can self-punish, or you can self-correct. Self-punishment would look like when you beat yourself up for it. I made a mistake, I'm an idiot, I'm a loser, I stuffed up.
You get caught in the moment and you don't look to the future and the opportunity. We have our biggest learnings when we make mistakes.
Absolutely, get it wrong.
Get it wrong,
Yeah.
because that's the fastest way to learn.
Mistakes are allowing you to learn, but there is a difference between making the same old mistakes. Keep showing up late all the time for the same old reason would be the same old mistake. Let your mistakes have growth attached to them. I'm going to learn from that one and be better and self-correct. So if someone comes into your office and you bulldoze their ideas because you're having a bad day, go into their office later on and say, hey, you know what? I got that wrong. That was on me. That's not on you. I was having a real bad moment. I'm sorry. I want to hear what you have to say. That's self-correction.
Reflection and acceptance, and then correcting. Yeah,
So powerful though, isn't it?
Powerful.
Because
Yeah.
don't stew on the moment you got wrong, because I think we give that so much power.
Yeah.
We are perfectly imperfect as people. Actually focus on
Yeah.
correction, because that's where people get more trust, more buy-in, more respect. You hear about it in customer service. They talk about service recovery. They actually trust brands more when their brand gets it wrong and they service recover more than they did if they didn't get it wrong in the first place. So how you treat people after you get it wrong actually says way more about you than getting it right.
Yeah. Speaking my language. Excellent. Thanks, Jules. What do you believe are the critical factors that have led to Happiness Co's success?
If you ask different people in the team, they'll probably give you a different answer. But to me, I reckon it's about really, really giving a shit. All in on people, all the time. And that doesn't mean you're a perfect brand. It doesn't mean you get it right all the time, but what's your intent? If your intention is good and pure and true and it's for the right reasons, then I think that comes through in everything that you do. So I think embodying your brand's message and values, and if you don't, find a way to come up with new values that you embody. They're not like your brand values and then your people. It's like they should be intertwined. Rather than these are our values, now adopt them.
Yes. Couldn't agree more.
So probably the same way I see happiness and success. People think about success and happiness as a different conversation. Happiness is over here and success is over here, but you should entwine them. Why? Because I'll tell you what success is not. Success is not driving a car that you love to a job that you hate. Success is not having a big ass mortgage that you have no money to pay for and you're so stressed all the time, and you have a nice house but it's not a home, because the home is based on the relationships that are inside of it, but they're breaking down because you have no time for each other. It's about redefining what that is, and I think what has made us a real change maker for people is allowing them to feel and give them permission to actually embrace and chase and build happiness, and know that it's actually, you deserve it. There was a study done back in like 2012, talked about people who got what they wanted versus people who didn't. And the biggest thing that was there, regardless if it was money, health, career, finances, a better life, the people who believed they deserved it versus the people who believed they did not. I think for us, it's about giving people permission to believe again, to seek that next possibility, because life can be really freaking hard. And in my particular work, you see it a lot, which is learned hopelessness. It's like, I've been heartbroken so many times, what's the point? I didn't get that job I went through so many times, I'm just gonna stay here. And then we just become okay with where we are because we feel comfortable and secure, but it doesn't mean that we're happy and we're thriving and we feel great about ourselves. So we, at Happiness Co, try and get people to re-inspire their views and their thoughts and their feelings, and what could that next best possibility look like for you? And I think that matters, because I think people chase that, and if you give people permission, we are a permission society. You think about permission. You've been asking your whole life for permission. Mum, can I go to the toilet? Dad, can I stay up late? Can I go to my friend's house on the weekend? Can I have chocolate? That was just when you were growing up. Then you ask permission when you're a teenager, and then you ask permission in your job. Can I work on this project? Can I take the weekend off? We ask people for permission every step of the way. The downside to that is that often we're waiting for someone to give us permission to be truly happy and truly show up the way that we want to show up. And I think that comes down to the difference between nice and being good, depending which one you are. So what's the downside of being nice?
If you're being nice on a regular basis, sometimes you're actually foregoing your own well-being.
You maybe don't keep your own promises. Maybe you're a people pleaser.
Yes, 100%.
Have you ever had a nice person finishes last?
Yeah, of course.
Gets walked over?
They put everyone else forward.
Nice people are so good at putting everyone else before them and filling up the buckets of other people and leaving how much for themselves?
Nothing.
So very little. Nice people are people on the airplanes who fit other people's oxygen masks first and not their own, and what would be the point if you die, right? That's nice. And you know what? That's awesome. I'm actually not saying there's anything wrong with being a nice person. If you can be anything, be nice. But if you can be above nice, be good. A good person stands for what is right. And what I love about good people, they'll do what's right even if people don't like them.
It matters about the good.
It goes beyond being liked. And I think being liked can be really challenging in business and in life. Being a likable character should come from all the things that you believe in and stand for. And being liked sometimes for fitting in or conforming or peer pressure can lead to lots of challenges. So I think nice is great, but good is way better.
Bringing it back to those values, when we went through the exercise of actually finding what our values were, they were already there. They just needed to be uncovered. It's something that's evolved through the development of my business is then finding the right people that fit those values to join the team. So I couldn't agree more with you around values and just how important and integral they are to a business. So finding the right values.
One of our great friends and mentors, and we've done quite a bit of work with as well, is Justin Langer. He always says that you go for character over cover drives because you can always teach someone how to enhance what they do.
Yeah.
But you can't teach someone to be good. If they're unkind and they're selfish and they're self-absorbed and they make other people feel less than, and other people are scared to make mistakes in front of them and they feel stressed and anxious and worried and never feel seen and heard and know their opinion matters and they're included and they feel like they've got a sense of belonging. If that's the person that you have in your organization, but they are dominant in getting results, it's short form, because the people who have great characters will always find a way to embrace the journey with everyone around them.
I could sit here talking to you for another 2 hours, I swear, but mate, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to share your journey and insights with everyone. I can't wait to send them out. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, mate, and thanks for the opportunity, and hand on heart, your support of us is not lost on us.
Yeah.
It allows us to elevate our message and help more people and change more lives and even save them, so thank you.
It's a pleasure, mate.